Good afternoon and welcome to episode number 6 of Defend Forward. Thank you all for joining us. I am one of your hosts, Sega Thompson, the CEO and founder of Genesis Security Consulting Limited, and I am joined by my awesome co-host, Kelvin Weish of IHG
Consulting
Consulting.
partners.
See, okay, I almost missed out a word, but I have it. Hey, and we are professionals. Today, we are beginning the first of our two-part series on AI. And today's episode is titled AI Is. And we are joined by none other than Greg Michelier. Am I saying that
Oh,
right?
you did. You almost nailed it. Yes.
I feel all French.
We could go Bahamian when we say Michelier, but
Nah, I feel like we
I
go in
think
Paris. I
I'll,
gotta get this right.
yeah, there you go. Yes, I know you do
And
very
Greg
well.
is our first and somewhat semi still new AI
Mm,
ambassador at large of
hmm.
technology and AI.
That's right.
So, Greg, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. So, I'm going to just jump straight in. Greg,
Mhm.
what does the ambassador at large for technology and AI do?
Oh, so I'm an ambassador at large. I consider myself a little bit of a roaming ambassador. Instead of being accredited to one country, I basically accredited to a subject. So technology and artificial intelligence is, what I discuss with countries and I discuss with not just countries, but with stakeholders, companies like OpenAI, um, Google, Microsoft, all the big ones. So I represent the Bahamas in international discussions regarding AI, digital policy. At home, I advise on how we adopt the technology in a way that serves Bahamian. So I bring that back. I bring all those lessons learned, and I bring them home. Um, I work I work across right now the Ministry of Innovation, which is new, which is exciting,
Yeah.
and Foreign Affairs, and the Office of Prime Minister. So
So, you're like torn in three different pieces of what I heard.
I
Wow.
am, yes, which is great because I have access to it gives me it helps me um take what I've learned or the discussions that we have to the different stakeholders. Because there's a lot going on in AI and technology now is one of the biggest subjects in the world. And it is the future. And we have to be aware of what's happening in the world. We have to be part of the discussions. So, in representing, the rules of AI are being written right now. It's not like we're late. Everyone out, I was asked when I first got appointed, are we late? No, we're not. We're actually right on time because the ones that have, written the rules are actually rewriting them now. Um, and you'll see, like with the US, they just came out with their framework months ago. The UK are still, figuring out their framework. A lot of different countries are still trying to understand where they lie. How do they govern AI? Do they govern the
Okay.
technology? Do
Now
they
I'm going to
govern?
play devil's advocate with you. Whereas they
Mhm.
may just have out their frameworks, they have had their laws out for several years now. When
They
are we going to
have.
get a law?
Well,
Because governance starts from something, some type of policy level, and a
mhm.
law is a very good, an act, a bill, a law. Eh, Kellens was reminding me which order it goes, and I think it's a bill, then it's enacted, a bill, act, law. So,
The first
are
step will
we
be a
getting one of
committee.
those soon?
Yeah, the first step will be a committee to go with all the stakeholders within the government, because we can't really, create laws if we don't have labor involved, if we don't have
Okay,
ministry,
all the people at the
immigration,
table.
all the people at the table. We have to because it involves everybody. So yes, that is in the works, and I think the committee should be coming out, in the next few months for sure. The the
Hey, hold on one
laws
second,
though.
one quick second. On behalf of
Mhm.
me and Calvin, we would like to know how do we get on the committee? Kellen, hey, it's a committee, task force, workforce,
Yes.
subcommittee.
So I think
Kellen, do you
that
have a Kellen, do you have a preference?
No, no preference.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
there's definitely gonna be stakeholders from the private side.
Yes.
But the public side will be, you know, the mo on the committee. So it'll be public side stakeholders. Um, but you know, aside from that, you know, when we're looking at laws, yes, there are some like the AI Act from the European Union. They've done a lot there, but unfortunately, it's hard to govern. It's hard to write laws for technology you don't understand, and even the AI companies don't completely understand it. So, you know, we have to write laws around it, from the usage, the deep fakes, hacking, cybersecurity. Those are the laws that have to be looked at. Now,
But they're
we
also
can't
in
con
the development, though. You still have to look at development and the transparency of what's going on
yeah,
because it
for
does
our own
start at some
side,
point.
yes, eventually
And
once
and
we get
and
to
not
that point.
just the deepfakes, you want to think about how is it going to be used. I know Kellen is always concerned about how governments are going to use AI.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Greg, you mentioned earlier, when you started to talk, you mentioned that in your role, I think before we got on there, you mentioned something about MOU, memorandums of understandings.
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe let's go back there. Let's talk a little bit more about your role. When you said like you meet with Google or some of these other big companies, as I would imagine, or I believe that for the most part, we're just users of the technology. I don't know that we're
Mhm.
developing
For
any of it
consumers.
ourselves, but pretty much we're just users. So,
Mhm.
what are your conversations like? What are you covering? What do you look to hope to achieve?
From Google and OpenAI, my conversations are around one, fair access, which, you know, it depends on on the conversation. From technology, we're also looking at influencers, them having access to monetization.
Mhm.
From the AI standpoint, education, access to education programs, um, training programs, those are important for us as a country because we need to upskill our people as well. So getting free. I'm always trying to get free things for us. That's my
Free night,
I
like
try not
eight
to get I don't like to pay. So you know I was like, so what do you have for free? Um
eight, and it's the premium version as good as the full paid version.
yeah, exactly. No, well, just give us the, you know, the start. But you know, those are the conversations now. You know, it's hard to have as we develop our framework and our laws, then the conversation are also around, you know, data protection. Those are conversations we've had, you know, because our data is is being used currently to train AI, and it is leaving the country, right? So how do we protect our data? You know, but then
That's a big.
also still have a free flow of data of transfers. So it's a very interesting time to be an AI it's a very interesting time to be for the government to create policy and legislation. It's also a very interesting time for me to be an ambassador for the country because these conversations are our starting point, and you know those are the us learning lessons to bring back into, you know, figure out what our legislation is going to be like. What are we going to do? You know, some countries would love us to be free flowing of data, right? They don't want us to restrict our data. Um,
And that's why we have cross-border policies in place under data protection laws.
exactly. So that's why it's important for us to, you know, still have the ability to retain custody of our data, and that's important.
To have
And
sovereignty.
in turn, to keep our sovereignty.
Yeah.
Sovereignty is important. I like that.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
Greg, now I will be honest and say, unlike Kellen, I don't know a lot of people. I'm a back of the room type nerd, so I don't always talk to people, kind of shy sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so I know since I was interested in you after I heard
Hmm.
there was an AI ambassador and you were the
Hmm.
first of your kind,
Hmm.
um, I'm like, I'm pretty sure someone else is out there. Why? What makes you suited for this position?
That's a good
Okay?
question.
This is an
That's a
elevator pitch. Go for it.
no, this is a very good question. Um, well, I've been involved in AI development for my companies probably for a good, what are we, 2026? Since 2018.
Okay,
So
tell us about the company.
I've got a very good Bodhi, which is my software company. I've got a very good understanding of LLMs, pre-training, um, fine-tuning. So I have a
Okay?
very good
Calvin is
understanding of
gonna
the
want you to
technology.
say what LLMs are. He hates when I use abbreviations. He makes me
large la-
It's for
explain
the
large
them.
public. It's for the public at large,
language models, which
right?
are basically the brains behind Claude and ChatGPT. They're the ones actually, doing the actual brain, the actual calculations and coming up with the outputs. So so I've been involved in technology for a long time, for over 22 years. I started my first company, Think Simple, um, in obviously in NASA. I grew that internationally, and then from there I built a another company, a couple other companies, but one was a software company, which is a smart building software, but very data driven, which started implementing AI into the platform very early on. Um, and from there, I've also been pretty involved in the development of that. So I'm a software developer, at the core. And I've grown this company worldwide now. So I have it manages and buildings AI driven all over the world. And so what makes me the most I am a Bahamian, and even though I wasn't born here, I grew up here. I moved when I was 8. I probably have one of, as far as in the country, I would say arguably worldwide, I have I've done business in Europe, Middle East, Asia. So I think I'm well suited for this role, just because of one, my software development background, my technology background, my age. I'm 46. I've been in. I'm still young.
Very young.
I'm
Yes.
still
Hey,
young. I'm still
I'm,
young.
I'm wise, but I'm young enough
I'm
that
wise, but I'm young enough,
I'm
so I'm,
still
I'm at the right
content.
age. And I have a deep understanding of the technology, and I also have a law background.
Oh,
So,
Yes.
law.
and I
I
also have a law background. So
Oh,
yes.
yes.
this is gonna, hey,
Yeah.
this is gonna be nice. Calvin, I
Yeah.
think I really want to be, I really join in one of these committees. I sure,
And I
definitely the
studied
governance one.
international law. So I think
Definitely the governance one.
Yeah. So Sega, if I may, yeah, Greg, I saw that. Was law your first love, or is that just something you did by the by?
by the by,
Okay.
technology was my first love. I've always been very interested in law. I think it's a fascinating practice. And so I decided to go. See, I think from a technology standpoint,
Hmm.
yes, you can go to school, and lots of people do. You don't need to. It's not a requirement to be a technologist. You can be a software developer and you learn it on your own. You don't need to go to university for it. Cybersecurity, bit different. I think you do need it's a lot of courses and I think there's certifications. But from a software development side, you don't need certifications to build a Google. That was
Right.
proven, or a
I
Facebook.
will say
So
this. I feel that there's a special place for software developers. I hate
mhm.
coding. I feel that you either love it or hate it. Like you intrinsically have that talent. Like either you have it or you don't. So hats off, because I love when you guys create things. I'm okay with testing it to see if I could break it, but I don't want to be the person to make it. I don't want to develop it. I don't want to build it.
So Sega, if I might also read this because Greg, I'm using Google. I'm using the AI. Could you believe it for an AI discussion? Um,
Hey, who else to use?
so it's,
Expert.
it says here
Expert
that
advisor.
that in your mandate, you're responsible for coordinating technological developments
Mhm,
internationally between
mhm,
both the private and public sectors in the Bahamas.
mhm.
Essentially, the country's point person for AI and tech diplomacy, liaising with foreign governments, companies, and international bodies.
That's
So,
correct.
yeah, just want to get an understanding of that out there
Mhm,
so that we all understand
mhm.
exactly. the role that you're
Mm,
playing for our country,
mm.
and no, and just as you said, I believe that you're more than qualified to be doing that on our behalf. So this is
Appreciate
great.
it.
I wanted
I
to have that
appreciate
as a
that.
base,
Yeah.
Siga.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah. It's a very broad mandate in some ways, but also very targeted. My discussions with countries is about best practices, bringing back knowledge, um, maybe creating partnerships, bring back investment, where it's available, getting grants because I like to get free things, um,
Yeah,
and
Important.
technology. With the technology providers, it's also about bringing back knowledge, education, better deals for the country. I had one of the things I'm working on, and I'm very passionate about, and I didn't realize I was passionate about until I started working on it, was the influencers and getting them be able to monetize on the platforms. And
right.
I didn't realize how hard it is to get that done. I thought, oh, you know what? We should just be able to monetize. Um, I've learned the hard way that the companies, we're a small country. We only have, so many influencers. So for them, it's not an investment they want to make.
It's not lucrative enough. Say
It's
it.
not
It's not
lucrative enough. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to start getting other CARICOM countries together, and we're going to
Oh,
come up with a plan.
because
And
there's strength
so
in numbers. There is strength in numbers.
strength in numbers, and
Absolutely.
right, and those are the things that those are the kind of conversations I'm having. There's the public side, there's the private side. The public side is honestly, when we're talking to a country like Estonia, they're very advanced in their eGov, and or Singapore,
Yeah.
and they're small countries, so we can learn so much from them because they are small. I mean, we're smaller, but they are small countries, and they've done it. Why can't we? The AI implementation, again, safely, responsibly, into government, and targeted. It has to be to help the citizen, not monitor the citizen. And that is from the top. We're there. When you're worried about how the government will use AI. It's not about using AI to monitor anybody. It's about using AI to speed up services, to make sure we don't have to stand in line to go and get a driver's license, or get a police report digitally, a lot easier, by being able to request it through a chatbot. We should be able to request services and get services very easily, not have to jump through hoops, fill out forms, and all these systems, and same with the digital ID, which is not really a digital ID. It's really an authentication system to say, hey, this person is a citizen. um they have an NIB number, and they have, and they're required these services, whether it's social services, whether it's applying for a gun license, or applying for a police record, or there's so many services that the government provides, but it's not very efficient currently. So
Processes, broken processes.
it's a lot of broken processes, and a lot of forms, and a lot of forms that you keep, that on top of forms that you have to always keep
Yes.
refilling out. And same thing with our birth certificates. That should be something we should be able to access pretty easily, online. So it's
In an earlier episode, Carolyn, I think we had spoken about how there is an opportunity for a national system based on how My Gateway works, where it's a centralized one where you should be able to upload all the relevant documents you get from one spot and not having to constantly reissue these same documents that everybody should have already have.
mhm,
And with I'm pretty sure with enough but sufficient processes and oversight, um, it should also reduce fraud
absolutely. It should definitely reduce fraud and
because
speed up
that is
speed up.
even though we haven't gotten to much AI, that is one of the great uses of AI, fraud
Hmm.
detection.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
moving on, we're going to start off with what is AI, aka what is artificial intelligence?
Oh, do you want the
No, we want the short answer. We want the short, concise answer that my 7-year-old nephew could understand.
oh boy, what is AI? Well, it's the short answer that your nephew could understand. Not the AI is a pattern recognition of on massive scale
Nope,
that you
nope,
know.
nope,
All
nope,
right.
nope.
AI is our superpower. AI is a system that helps us access information quickly, helps us draft documents quickly, helps us build software quickly, and helps us learn quickly. And it's not about the quick. It's about we're able to interact with it to be more efficient. Um, and at our jobs, it's we can draft emails, a lot more concisely, a lot quicker. We're able to learn a lot more about our jobs. Also, we're able to, instead of Googling something, you can chat GPT it, for example. And I think when you Google something, it was great, but it's hard. It was hard to um, scroll through the noise
Okay.
and
Right.
get
Compared to
signal,
Bing, Google was
right?
life. I don't care what y'all say, Google was life.
Google is life, but there's a lot of noise in Google, right? There's a lot more signal in AI. And I'm not saying that it's always right, but
Okay.
it gives us a lot more signal to noise
Okay. We
ratio.
will not talk about the hallucinations on this episode.
We're going to talk about that later. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think so I think from a even me, I was next week I'm taking my family to Orlando, which is a terrible idea. My kids
Are
to
you guys
Orlando.
going to the happiest place on earth?
We are going to the happiest place on earth, and I was trying to figure out, where should I go, and not about, other than Orlando. I ended up going to Orlando, but I used ChatGPT. What other areas have, theme parks and everything. And at the end of the day, it was like, well, probably should just go to Orlando. Your kids are young, and you're killing yourself, and it's one flight and all this. It gave me a whole spiel of why I should go to Orlando, even though I
Yeah.
didn't want to go.
Yeah.
It kept the heat out of it, but but the point was, I use ChatGPT for things like that in my everyday life. I use it to maybe Google, instead of Googling, maybe when my child is sick, I ChatGPT it. I think everyone does. Um, you
Is
know,
it, hey, does it tell you that they're about to die? Like how Google yourself, everybody thinking they're about to die?
we're not talking about the bad. We're not talking about the bad this episode. You got the
It's just
memo, didn't
neutral
you?
and not.
You got the memo. I thought you got the memo.
Please get the
I
memo,
issued
Steve.
I
the
got the
memo.
memo.
Sorry, I issued the memo and I'm going against it. I
You
apologize.
are,
I
you are,
apologize.
you are.
Yeah.
Bad
Um,
signal.
it isn't magic and it isn't infallible, but it is really good. And it's getting better and better and better. And I think
So,
from just even to our jobs, and it gives us a lot more, it makes us more efficient, and we can do more at our job than we used to be able to. So, where our productivity goes up.
okay, I like that. So,
Yeah.
okay, for
It's our superpower.
the people in the back who still felt that your explanation was long, I always explain AI like this. AI is just the ability of a computer to perform human tasks, or
That's
basically tasks that would normally have been performed by a human
Right. But as Greg said too, but the
in the
thing
most
for
simplistic form.
but the thing that I know I love it is that it can make you as an individual seem like a company, seem like a conglomerate. In other words, um, things that would take you hours and having to look in so many different places for answers, it can simply, by asking the right questions, it can bring that information to you. So I
I
love it
agree
for
with
that.
that. I want you guys to know that a few months back I was using both Claude and ChatGPT, and I decided that intellectual conversation I love with Claude,
Hmm.
Creative things I prefer with ChatGPT. That's how I outline them. But like just
They
like you, when it comes to I love to travel. I
mhm.
love to travel. So in recent times, I will go and plug and say, hey, like I did a trip in April and I said, hey, I'm doing this layover. This is how long my layover. What all can I do? What all should I do? Stuff like that. Or, I'd be like, when I'm calculating which route I want to be, I like to stop. I like longish layovers in new countries. It's like a 2-for-1 special. And so I would ask and I'm like, where, okay, give me some routes, that would carry me to
Yeah,
different countries for at least 12 hours. I could do a lot in 8 hours, trust and believe.
I believe it. Even more now with AI.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I do enjoy it and it is pretty good for especially if you're a person that have a lot of thoughts, it's really good in helping you structure those thoughts. So
Yes.
I it
That
does.
is very true. And I have so many all the
You
time.
know, and um, well, of course, I mean you can see by my gray hair, I'm from the other generation, but what I find that with it is that okay, so I'm out doing something and I'm thinking and the thought comes, oh, why haven't I asked this? Um,
Mm,
and so I can go back to Claude or ChatGPT, and I can now put the question, and to get the answers, maybe something I was struggling with. So it, it, I find it to be very, very helpful. But Greg, how is, give us then some of the, you may have said this before, but let me just structure it this way. Give us some
mm,
of the more positives of how, you mentioned government services, of how it's going to help us be more, it could help us be more productive and efficient.
mhm.
Um, what else do you see as far as AI is concerned? And I don't want to touch too much. For me, I don't want to get onto the other side of it, so I don't really want to talk about the regulations, etc. But I noticed that countries are coming together on regulations.
Mhm,
They're starting to talk about it.
mhm,
European Union, as a matter of fact, is even now talking about trying to move away from the United States based companies so they have their own, so they don't have a supply issue
mhm,
where that gets cut off from them. So I don't
mhm.
know, any of those things that you want to talk about to throw in for me.
Yeah, so let me just start with, the regulations part. We just had a delegation at the AI governance dialogue from
Yeah,
the UN in Geneva. Um, the biggest takeaway there was really capacity building. um, Whether you're building capacity in building your own technology or upskilling your citizens. Um, I think governing, I think trying to govern AI at a broad level, and it could lead to also, at this point we can't set ourselves back, right? And we need to have the ability to build um, the capacity, whether it's building eventually maybe building our own LLMs. I don't know. That's not out of our reach either. At least I don't think so, because I
right.
kind of have a good understanding of what it takes to build it. And yes, it takes money, compute, power, but it's not out of our reach, and it's getting more and more within our reach. And I think as you see the technology and hardware, you know, um, get better and better and more efficient, that's where we're going to start meeting in the middle. It seems dire today, but we're not talking about that.
Mhm.
As far as the difference, the how few companies are that much more ahead than others. And I think European Union is realizing, you know what, we can do it. We can do this too. We can help our private companies get there, and we should. And I think it's important that we maybe as a CARICOM, maybe we could do it together. Maybe there's a possibility there. Maybe in an AI lab would be smart. Watch that space. You don't know.
Yeah.
That could be something great. Eh, and I think, and I don't want to get too far from your subject. I wanted to talk, really about capacity building, governance. Um, that all comes together. We can't govern with what we don't know. So understanding the technology and while building governance is important. Now, for government services, giving our public servants a superpower is not a bad idea. And I think helping them, um, you know, process
Efficient, helping them to be more efficient
efficient will
would
be will
much be embraced by the general public.
I th yes, exactly. And that's where AI will be instrumental in digitization. We have a good base, but the ability to process an application quicker, um, definitely be. I'm sure a lot of people would be happy with that. Whether
Yeah.
it's a building permit, whether I don't know. There's so many applications. It's like a blank slate. So for us, it's I think it's a we're gonna see progress very quickly. And I hate to use the tagline, but
I was about to say,
I hate to say the tagline, but I don't know what else to say. We're going to see efficiencies very quickly, and I think, yeah, I hate to say, it. But it is true.
it
with
is what it
technology,
is. It
it
is
is
what
what
it
it
is.
is. Um, we didn't have a ministry of innovation months ago, and now we do. Now we have a team being built within the ministry to you know y- take the team that's already there
Expand on it.
and expand on it and make it more targeted, because before it was part of the Ministry of Finance, really, I think, or under
Yeah. I think.
OPM. With it wasn't really, it didn't have as much as a vision as it does today. So I think based on that, we're going to see so much progress. Again, I don't want to keep saying that, but we're going to see a lot of advancement in that space. And I think, and it's important, right? Ease of business as well is a big one. We need that. It's
Oh,
it's
yes.
extremely inefficient. And I know I own businesses here.
But no,
I understand the woes
all
and the,
business owners have a headache with doing a business
oh
here.
Lord, oh
So
Lord.
we understand. We
We get
understand.
it. Yeah, we're not talking about the
No,
negative here, but
not at all.
Uh,
But technically,
uh,
uh,
that's a positive because we're saying how AI can be used to improve.
AI and technology in general. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to take a moment and let's go back to a bit of education here. And Greg, you should be good to help us along with this. I want to talk
Mhm.
about the evolution of the AI stack. And Calvin, you should be able to appreciate this because I have a picture.
oh, I thank God.
I I did research today
Oh,
just
this is
to show you.
fantastic. Thank you, Sega.
And so a lot of people do not know the difference between general AI and
Mhm.
generative AI.
Mhm.
And just like a lot of people don't realize that the term artificial intelligence was coined from back in the 1950s with the Turing test and the whole convention they had. And so I'm just going to take a minute here to stop and say that, hey, artificial intelligence, not the way we know it today, but came about, the concept was consolidated in the in the early 1950s.
Mhm.
And it says it was a foundational discipline and it was pulled from several disciplines, if I remember, including math, because
Mhm.
technology wasn't so much of a thing then. And it was a
Mhm.
field focused on building systems that were capable of logic and reasoning to solve problems originally handled by highly trained human experts,
Right.
which we
Mhm.
basically said that, hey, we need to help, cure some things and world hunger, which we still ain't do yet, but we get there. And then it evolved from there into machine learning. And a lot of people use the term AI and ML
Mhm.
Machine learning. Yeah.
interchangeably, but they're still kind of differently because machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence and it is considered the statistical engine.
Mhm.
So it's based on a lot of manual rules and it learns from those rules and those patterns and how to identify other patterns and predict future outcomes. And this was in the Calendar know with all our technology tools, all the pattern recognition was how we were using to find out, hey, things weren't
Yes.
quite right and
Right.
determining all anomalous behaviors.
Right.
And from then we went into deep learning, which was the neural layer, which is basically when you think about neural, you're trying to mimic the brain, how the brain works.
Right.
And we got speech recognition and ARs and hold on, artificial reality and virtual
Hmm.
reality. Hey,
Hmm.
Greg, I have to remember, I tell you, keep me honest.
Hmm.
Um, and from the deep learning, we then got into the generative AI models. And which just says, hey, now we're now synthesizing all this data and we can now use what we know
So
to
so let's just
create.
let's just go back on a deep learning.
Go.
Let's just to put it for the audience.
Hmm.
Unlocking your phone with your face. And also, how Netflix knows what shows we like. That would be
Preferences,
called that
yes.
would preferences. That's deep learning as well.
Hey, don't forget Amazon. Those
Okay.
Amazon cards.
Does Amazon? Oh, the Amazon knows. Yeah.
Hey, product
I mean,
recommendation.
yeah, yeah. So product recommendations a part of deep learning as well. So I just wanted to put it kind of at the for the
They make
audience.
it make it so the end users could associate with what's going on
Hmm.
there. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And we all know generative AI is our chat GPT and our Claudes.
Hmm.
And we prompt in some stuff and we're now able to create new things from existing data sets.
Hmm.
This is considered the creative collaboration between humans and machines. We're still all in a good place.
Hmm.
And from 2025 onward right now, we have agentic
Yeah.
AI,
And
which is
then,
autonomous systems that plan and execute complex workflows using digital tools.
which is, yes, our agents. We'll call them
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
agent.
we're moving from the
Those are AI
single chat
agents.
interactions to independent
And
enterprise actions.
then beyond that, what's next? AGI, artificial general intelligence. That is the
Intelligence.
Yeah.
next, that is going to be the next step. That's what everyone's afraid of. That is when we close the loop and it starts thinking.
But when you look at it now, we are at agentic now where the Gen AIs are now helping write their own code. Um, and we're still considered to be on weak AI, where the goal was actually for AI to supersede human thinking.
Hmm.
So, but at this point, like I said, we're not going to focus on horror stories today. This is just this is my brief showing, hey, from whence we came to where we're going because
So hey, let's maybe tell everybody. No, no, that's not true. I'm about to say a couple of things, and no, it's not true. But all right, so agentic AI, and it's basically what let folks know it's that you can set up the AI to do certain things for you without you
Hmm.
even being there, and
hey,
so it's your
I feel
agent
like
that will
hey,
do
the
It's
autonomous
it's like
vehicles are in there now.
it's like
that.
my agent, my chief of staff, I call her Sage, who is able to answer emails. So sometimes it's not me. Um, sorry.
And that's Greg,
It makes me more.
that's where Sega and I have an issue because then this whole thing
She, she,
with identity, right, Sega?
yes, but she can also adjust my house. Turn off my
Lights, yeah.
She can also run my workflows. Um, Help me organize my meetings. Think of her as like more of executive assistant. Um, I do have an executive assistant. Uh, Unfortunately, she's a little bit mad at me because I use AI a lot more now. Yeah. So now she's doing other things. So
You
what's
can't
nice about it is
appreciate her greatness. I don't blame her. You're not appreciating her greatness.
she's amazing, but now she's doing better things now. So it's actually worked out. She's gone beyond the executive assistant because I now have a AI executive assistant, which I can call, I can WhatsApp or email. So it's I have three different ways I can, and she doesn't sleep, so it's nice. She can look.
Okay. So when you're working between 2 and 4 a.m., you don't feel bad about waking her up.
No, exactly. And I do. I'm one of those crazy people who goes to bed around midnight, 11 midnight, and gets up around 4 or 5. So I don't sleep my yeah.
I prefer to just stay up till 4. Like if we're gonna do it, let's just stay up till 4. Like what?
Oh, but yeah, but then people call it like, so
Call?
Yeah.
yeah, but I get calls all the time. I have businesses all around the world, so
Okay,
I have
right.
different
Makes
time
sense.
zones. So I have to kind of like I work within the confines of those time zones, unfortunately.
Eh? For
So
me, coming from cybersecurity, if I'm getting called at 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm a
it's not
tad
good.
bit concerned about how my day is about to go. Just a
Yeah,
tad bit.
it's not a good.
Yeah.
It's funny. We haven't really talked about cybersecurity and AI yet, and the advancements of cybersecurity and with AI.
Well,
And we're getting there.
So
We're talking about business impacts. We're talking
I
about
might,
business.
but I think we should talk about might put it back on you and how
Okay,
are
go
you
ahead. Go for
you're
it.
the
Eh?
experts. You're the
Yeah,
experts.
go ahead, Greg. I like the direction we're going in. Let's
I
go
want
for
to.
it.
I would love to know from your standpoint where you see AI helping with cybersecurity, because I think
Um,
that's a big um, it's a big subject these days, is cybersecurity because of Mythos. Then you.
yes.
So AI
Hmm.
has been integrated in a lot of technology tools, and cybersecurity
Hmm.
is no different. And
Hmm.
so, what one of the things that did when you look at things like next gen SIMs as well as endpoint detection and stuff, and even
Hmm.
email filtering,
Hmm.
is it made it easier. The time for detection has been greatly reduced, so it's quicker to notice those things, even when it
Yeah,
came to the advanced phishing emails, allegedly, because they feel like, they're always crafting them different. But,
it's
so
impressive.
it has definitely been helpful all along because, I
Hmm.
mean, besides using machine learning, we're now
Hmm.
using all these more advanced because that's what technology is.
Hmm.
Like I will always say, AI is but a tool. The way the tool is used is depending on the wielder.
That
Yeah.
is 100 right, 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. So cybersecurity wise, it's you know, as you know, it goes both ways. You're getting attacked by cybersecurity, but you also do have you're also able to use AI based cybersecurity tools uh, to fight back. And so it's an arms race, and
It is.
but this is where we are, and you
And
have to
we're in the middle of it.
yes, yeah, yeah,
It's interesting because I've been talking to Google a lot about their cybersecurity products because they also bought a
Mandiant,
yeah, that's right.
Mandiant, yeah, they put
Yeah,
Mandiant.
and they integrated into their cybersecurity products. Um, and their offering's quite interesting. Um,
Mhm.
and it's 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 needed. So what I foresee, right? We're in agentic
Mhm.
AI, right?
Yes,
So we're going to talk about agentic AI and agents. Agents can be used for good or bad, right? And we're going to say
yes,
for good, for the good part, because we're going to talk about the bad another time. The good part is they are also able to protect systems, right? And also watch other agents for flaws because you can create an agent, but it can make mistakes. So you can also have a coordinator agent that can also make sure that it doesn't stray, it stays within its confines. So there's a lot, not just in the cybersecurity part of it, with vulnerabilities, but there's also the fact that you can use agents to coordinate other agents, make sure they don't get off their purpose, because it's like hallucinations. That could happen. So I think it's important
right.
to realize that the same technology that can use for good can also be used for bad, but then can be used for good. So
So
by watching
here's
itself.
here's the $1 billion question for you. Um, in your capacity, are you negotiating to give us access to give the Bahamas access to Mythos so we get on that exclusive list? That's just a rhetorical question, Craig.
No, it's funny. The only company that I can't seem to get, a constant flow with is Anthropic, because I don't think they like governments. They have
That's the
so I think
reason.
we've been that has been ruined for us a little bit. But yeah, I have tried and tried and everyone else, XAI, well, SpaceX, Google, OpenAI, all of them. They're great, and we have conversations all the time. We're talking about education, we're talking about cybersecurity, we're talking about a whole slew of things, but Anthropic, nothing. They seem to want to be stonewalled from governments, at least, So, and as much as I'm sure I could apply for us to get access to Mythos. I think it's a little bit premature for us, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure, our systems. I think our systems could get hacked right now by just Opus or any other model. So I'm not too, Mythos would just tear us apart at this point. And I think that's a lesson learned for us. We have to tap into, we got to start preparing for these models. It's good. I think it's going to take the whole country. We have to start the ISPs, to be honest. I think that's where that we have to strengthen our defenses directly at the, Alive and Cable Bahamas BTC level. I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll
So
you'll
I
agree.
like
And
how
I'd love. Mhm,
I like how you went into there, because it's a good segue for my question when we talk about
mhm,
skills for the future.
mhm.
Um, AI literacy is going to be a big thing, and I think um, we're probably going to be at the time that we need to introduce technology. Not saying that they children aren't introduced to technology earlier, but from a school level, actually really making sure that they have the cybersecurity foundations, not sharing passwords, understanding cyberbullying, and as it looks at AI, how to safely use AI. And do you think your role is going to feed into how that may look over the next 5 years?
I think so. I think my role, as we're talking to these companies, about implementation into the education system. I think I'm involved in making sure that we pick the right product one for our school system. And making sure that, in these discussions that we're having with them, that our culture is being upkept, but also our children, the way they're going to be taught, right? It has to start from the top down, bottom up, right? So for education, helping first steps for education and education for the is helping the teachers have more knowledge, right? So AI helps them get more knowledgeable. It also helps them with, they're getting rid of their as much of their administrative tasks, because that's also bogs them down as teachers. You want teachers to teach. So those are the things that OpenAI specifically have done, for countries like Estonia, actually being implemented also in Trinidad and Tobago, Singapore, and a whole lot of other countries, where they've started with, the teachers, and that those lessons, whether, from a, um, the ability for maybe an IT teacher to have a little bit more knowledge on cybersecurity, and also cater the curriculum and a little bit differently than they would, right? Maybe it's going to be talking about, passwords, maybe multi-factor authentication, things like that, and teaching kids from the start about protecting their accounts. Maybe it's talking about, coding another time. It's, things that our teachers maybe don't have complete access to today. Through AI, they'll have more access to knowledge bases. Um, and I think from a education standpoint, AI is going to play a pivotal role in our education process. And I think it's going to help a lot with helping teachers, not replacing teachers. I think we want to, again, enhance productivity and give teachers more time to teach rather than be bogged down with administrative tasks. And I think that's what AI is going to do for us. I love the tools, and if you look at Google Classroom, and Notebook LM specifically. I love those tools, and I think they have a really good offering. The others, XAI and OpenAI's offering is good. It's just more in the chat GPT space, I would
Hmm.
say, a little bit different from the entire kind of suite that Google has. So again, I don't know which, it's not my decision to which one we'll go with. Obviously, make recommendations. Um, and from the we also have the LMS side for the learning tools for teachers, our curriculum. There's a lot. I think a lot's going to have to change, but our biggest problem is there's a massive
Yeah.
um, gap, yeah, in between schools, and that's going to help close the gap. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see kids being able to learn at the same level from a public school to a private school, because I think that's where
Right.
the gap's going to close, and I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see those advancements, especially in our country.
I
Yeah.
would
I
really
think
like to
that's
see that implemented, starting with the family islands, where there tends to be a shortage of teachers.
hmm
So yeah, I see good things ahead. And I like
and
that you touched that AI is not really here to replace jobs. It's
mm,
more to automate tasks and provide more efficiency by getting rid of some of the tedious tasks that are more time consuming. And I think it's important that individuals understand that, like I said, it's a tool. So if you embrace the tool and adopt the tool, you would probably be aligning yourself to for better future opportunities in the workforce.
yeah, I think anybody who's not using AI should really look into it, um, and should be trying to learn. It's funny because you could use AI to learn about AI. So, yeah, you can just go ChatGPT, teach me about AI, and then you can learn.
Yes, you can.
And it's, so I think there is no real excuse about, how do I learn AI? Well, just go on and I was on a talk show and it's like, well, how do I learn about AI? Well, go to ChatGPT and say, hey, how do I learn about AI? It's that
Well,
easy. And
that
it'll give you all the information you need, whether it's videos
right,
or
right.
documentation or whatever. So,
And that's what University of YouTube is for.
oh God, I that has saved me in so many ways. I think
Yes.
before AI, YouTube was just the best.
Yeah.
So, um,
Greg, as you are with government, and I just wonder whether or not, you mentioned young people, and you know that I think Australia first, and I think the United Kingdom has now done the
mhm,
same thing. They've come out with uh, social media laws,
mhm.
limiting it to 16-year-olds and stuff like that. Have any discussions, anything like that around for the Bahamas, or what do you think about as you go around, what have you been hearing about those sorts of measures and how they may help or not be applicable?
Um, the funny thing about Australia, I met my counterpart in Geneva, another tech ambassador. They've had one since 2017, and actually had discussions with her about that. What they're doing with social media. Um, it's very interesting. Um, I don't, I don't know the discussions around that right now. I can't tell you that that is something that the government wants to do or doesn't want to do. Um, I think right now the it's about creating opportunities, whether it is in influencing.
Hmm.
Um, I know, the UK has come down with their rules. Um, you know, eh, again, I don't have, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. There is no discussion or decision on that. Will there be? I'm sure in the future there will be as things progress. I think right now the government's very much concentrated on implementing technology into the government, giving opportunities to Bahamians in the tech field, and creating more programs and educational programs and opportunities. And on my side, I am very much concentrated on make and bringing in opportunities for Bahamians, whether it's from tech companies, maybe doing it, figuring out um, remote work opportunities as well.
Yes.
I just want us to think globally, rather than locally. As we have always been thinking locally, and tourism and financial services. Um, and I think we have so much more to give, and opportunities are there. We just have to get into that market. So, not to stray away from your question, but the last thing we want to do today is stifle, stop ourselves from having access to the global market.
Yeah.
Um, and whatever happens with social media, with kids, that I think that's going to be, that'll be a little bit down the line.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So,
So, Craig,
mhm.
can you give me some of your favorite AI apps that do not include Claude, Google, or ChatGPT?
Or XAI. It's funny because I actually just all I do is create my own apps. I don't AI apps.
Wow. That's
I don't
cool.
like to consume. I like to create. So
It's just his inner nerd.
I'm very weird that way. So when you're talking about someone that I don't like to pay for, I even have my own LLM on a GPU that I've been yeah. So
What size CPU you using?
I have a 96 gig GPU that I'm renting right now. So I'm actually I'm buying a Spark a to test out some more models. So uh, I think even on the personal level, forget from my
Yeah.
company side or even
Right.
government. So I'm probably the worst person to ask when it comes to AI tools because I like to create my own.
All right,
And
so let's ask this
I
question. What do
yeah,
you use to create your own tools? Because there are several ways to do it.
yeah, absolutely. So for me, I wrote an app that or wrote an app that basically is a command line, and it gives me access to Claude Code, Codex from ChatGPT, XAI's new models. So I can choose in between, and I actually have the AIs kind of review the code from each other from the different companies.
Okay.
So and then I review the code as well. So I have a unique kind of view on yeah, and I don't use yeah. So I'm probably the wrong person to ask about what AI tools you should be using outside. Yes, Lovable is a great tool for prototyping.
Yes,
Um,
the
Definitely
Honorable
something.
Minister spoke about that
Yeah, he
last
loves
year,
it.
I think. Yes.
Yeah.
A
Yes.
very easy way to you basically just tell it what you ate from your creative brain to the cut to the line and then just does it.
And
Yeah.
what is that?
There's
Sorry, tell the folks again what the tool is, please.
Lovable.
Lovable. Okay.
Lovable is an AI. We'll call it a prototyping tool. I don't think it should be used for production, but it's good at it'll make great um, apps, but it is really made for prototyping. Like if you have an idea of an app and you want to prototype it,
Ah,
you can use Lovable to do that, and it'll do an end-to-end kind of application for you. I wouldn't call it a production level app, but
yeah. Yeah.
it is very good for putting your thoughts on paper. Another tool I use is 11 Labs for voice
Ah, yeah.
overs.
Yes.
11 Labs, yeah. Actually, I've used that for Sage, the my AI agent.
Right.
Um, yeah.
You can get
Uh,
really nitty gritty on it. You can say you want a 48, a black Caribbean man. You could say down
yes,
to
you
the
could
eye of
say
the
that.
country,
Correct.
the
Yeah.
age. You could say the
Yeah.
tonality of it. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I talked about Notebook LM. I
Yeah.
think it definitely deserves a mention. Um, it's I think that's a great way to feed your documents and become an expert on them. So even further than just a typical GPT. So it's great for like students and educators.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many
Right.
applications out there that you can, it depends what you do as well, right? If you're creating
Right.
videos or you're in marketing, I guess Canva is one of them.
Yes.
Dali, just off the top of my head, it really depends the application that you're doing. So um, but I am probably the worst because I don't use I've used them, but not really
Okay.
to
So
deep because
all
I
of
like
us
to create
can't
my
are
own.
not developers, so we cannot go out there and just create our own stuff. Find
Yeah,
people to tell us about things.
yeah. I think like there's like different types of apps. There's also for productivity, like using Firefly for meetings to recap meetings. There's so many different applications from creating being a creator um, to productivity to um, just general AI.
No.
But at the end of the day, what's interesting is the gap is, all these apps are being used less and less because people are just starting to use Claude or ChatGPT a lot more. This is all getting embedded in them. So it
Yes.
tells you where the things are going, and the opportunities are getting a little bit, less and less. Um, and I think with the ability to create, like when we're talking about Claude, right? There's also Claude Code and Codex from ChatGPT and XAI's own models where you can create applications
Yes. Hmm.
very easily. So
Right.
from Lovable to a yeah. So and it's a lot more. It's more reachable now for us to be able to do that.
Greg, I have a question that may be a little far afield, but or maybe not. Um, we keep reading in particularly in the U.S. and I think other places as well, where there's becoming this pushback now against data centers, and since we do
Mhm.
still have a lot of land and where we don't have anybody, inhabiting, etc., as enough people inhabiting. Do you see that as a draw? Is that a possible draw? Again, just wish casting. I'm not asking you to speak as a thing from the government, but for instance, is that
Andros,
yeah? Could that be like
yeah.
if we want to say, hey,
Is
we allow you to build a data center there. You bring your own power, etc.
I think
Provide your
if
own
you
power.
bring your own power, or I think you use solar with your own power,
Yeah.
it's completely within reach. I think that it would be wise for us to have some sort of infrastructure like that, and it can be, hurricane proof. Um, yeah,
Okay.
I think from a country investment, um, we'd like to see that. I think we
Yeah.
should in islands that aren't populated for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't know if you're thinking of it the way I'm thinking of it, is that it's, oh, so, if you're saying to a big company, oh, you're having a difficulty building it, you're saying to Amazon as an example, oh, you're having difficulty building that data center there in Utah. Well, why don't you bring it to Andros and build it there and,
Yeah.
bring the
Yeah.
infrastructure for us, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, there's definitely been proposals.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and I think environmental has to be looked at. There's a lot that needs to be looked at
Sure.
before you commit to that. It has to
Hmm.
be friendly. We do have a beautiful country we don't want to ruin.
Hmm.
It's getting more and more efficient. I know there's a big thing about, data centers and especially in the US and how they're
Yes.
ruining, and but it's interesting. There's a Chinese company that now makes data centers that they actually put them in the ocean because for
Nice.
cooling purposes, so uses and they use solar for power. So it's interesting, that's an
Okay.
interesting concept. I'm not saying we would do that, but just saying
Thought they would
that's out
since
there.
it's an ocean, I thought they would have used water.
Yeah. Well, that's in the water, so the cooling's actually easier because it's already in the water.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
but
But you
there's
have you
also
have more
data
energy
centers.
from water, so with the
Yeah,
tides and stuff. So
you use it for that. Yeah, no, yeah, but I think the funny part about tidal, I think it takes a lot. There's also data centers in space. Obviously,
I
SpaceX
was
is
about to say, I mean, our favorite billionaire is a trillionaire is talking about that.
he'll do it. I
Yeah,
mean, he'll do it. They talk about it. I've heard them talk about it on calls, and I don't see why it makes the most sense. Literally, the sun's there. That's the
power source. Yeah,
cooling's there.
yeah.
There's literally, and he already has the the low orbit satellites that are there. So
And he has the transport mechanisms, right? Because he builds the
yeah,
rockets.
you hear that's the transfer. Like it's funny because everyone was like, "Oh well, Grok is terrible," and this. I'm like, "You'll see, they're gonna catch up. They're gonna catch
Yeah,
up. It's inevitable.
yeah.
It's inevitable." And they did. 4.5 is actually very good. Their new model, very, very good. Is it as good as the others? Not yet, but it's
Not yet.
not far. It's not far, and it's actually uh, much less. It uses a lot less tokens than the others, so
Mm,
it's arguably on par just in a different way. There's a
excellent.
really cool graph so yeah, I
Big figure.
think yeah. I remember the graph, but there's a really cool graph that I've seen that shows you how many tokens it takes to get the answer, and then fables over here where it takes the most, but it's a little slightly higher.
Hmm.
But then on this side, less tokens from Grok 4.5, but still get a really good answer. It's similar to Opus. So I think there's something to say about efficiency there.
Yeah.
They've definitely
I
come
did
up.
not understand because I started off with ChatGPT when I went to Claude and realized it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not the same. And then it told me I can't use it for the next couple hours. And I on a paid version. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Uh,
What is this? I say, Chatty,
About
Tokenomics is a huge problem.
yeah,
hey,
it
Tokenomics.
is.
Chatty does not do this to me. So I'm back to
It
Chatty, just Chatty.
it does from coding. Actually, Codex is worse on coding, like the amount of the tokens you
Because
get, or the much capacity you get, because I think I use up Codex a lot quicker than I do like the others. So yeah, but it's tokenomics. The cost per token, and the cost of usage is getting more expensive, which is the probably the one thing that needs to be looked at. I'm hoping one. Um, it's so if you're looking at government, right? From a government standpoint, we're looking at having our own LLM fine-tuned for government. That way, our data stays in our country. So that's important, right? Having our data sovereignty is important. So these things are building our own software within government. Again, now we have sovereignty. So these, not being vendor locked is important. So
right.
these are all things that are being not discussed, actioned. And I think that's important that now the people in place that are having these discussions have knowledge and um, e- experience. So and I'm very lucky to be part of those discussions, and I feel very fortunate to be able to do that. Especially being able to take my knowledge about AI and implement it into and give my knowledge back to the country. I think it's a beautiful thing. But
It's awesome.
from and I think just to I think we're almost, I don't know how much time we have left, but
We've been overtime. This show is
yeah,
always overtime.
it's always overtime. That's great. It's always a great discussion. Can't wait to talk about the really bad stuff. I got
Yeah. The next episode
I'm gonna
promises to
I'm
be
gonna
it.
scare everybody. I'm gonna scare everybody.
Uh,
No, I'm
The
joking.
TAM version. This is the TAM version. So
No,
with that,
I,
Callie, do
I
you have
just
any closing words?
no, well, no, I can close if you like and just say, Greg, well, thank you so very much for your time. Thank you for what you've been sharing with us, and we look forward to the next one.
yeah,
Uh, uh, couple of weeks. This has really been great, and it's really been great meeting you and hearing about the great work that you're doing, where the country is going. Want to hear more about that in our next episode as well. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and you can also reach out to me without, I'm happy to talk through that as well. So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
All
All right.
right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you guys for sticking with us as we went into overtime yet again. And don't forget to join us for our next episode, part 2 of the series on August 4th, labeled Who's Afraid of AI? And with
Definitely.
that, have a great rest of your week. Until next time.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right. Good night.